Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be diving into a concept called consilience.
Ooh, consilience.
Yeah. Now, before you hit that skip button, trust me, this
Uh,
isn't just some stuffy academic term.
yeah.
Think of it like this. Imagine you're working on a jigsaw puzzle,
Okay.
and suddenly a piece from a totally different box fits perfectly.
Oh,
That unexpected connection, that feeling that something bigger is going on, that's consilience in action.
I love.
Finding evidence from totally different sources that all point to the same conclusion.
Right.
And we've got a stack of fascinating research on this. And with our expert here, we're going to break it down.
Yes.
We'll explore how consilience works, why it matters, and how you can actually use it to navigate this crazy world of too much information.
Too much.
So, ready to become information detectives?
Let's do it.
Let's get started.
I love that analogy of the jigsaw puzzle. It really captures the essence of consilience. Like you said, it's not just about finding a lot of evidence. It's about the type of evidence.
Right. You're right. It's about those connections you weren't expecting. Our sources describe it as that aha moment when you realize that different pieces of information are all pointing to a much larger truth.
Yeah, it's not just about quantity. It's about the quality and the diversity of the evidence. Think about how we understand evolution.
Okay.
Scientists use genetics, fossils, even geography.
Yeah.
Each field is totally different, its own methods and data, but they all come to the same conclusion.
That's a great example. It's like having multiple witnesses at a crime scene who all saw different parts of what happened,
Right.
but their testimonies all come together to tell the whole story.
Exactly.
Okay.
But some of our listeners might be thinking, that's great, but how does this apply to me?
Well, let's be real.
Right.
How much information are we bombarded with every single day? It's overwhelming.
Every day. News, social media, opinions everywhere. How do you know what to trust? That's where consilience comes in.
It gives you a powerful tool to cut through all that.
It's like a truth filter. Instead of just believing everything you see and hear, stop and think. What other evidence is there? Are there studies, historical records, expert opinions? And if the answer is no, or if all you can find is something from a biased source, red flag.
So instead of blindly trusting the loudest voices, consilience encourages us to think critically, question what we hear, look for that convergence of evidence. That's a pretty valuable skill.
Absolutely. Especially these days. In a world drowning in information and misinformation, consilience is crucial. It arms you with a healthy skepticism and allows you to be confident in your decisions.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get into some mind-blowing examples of consilience in action. One that really blew my mind was how scientists finally figured out the age of the Earth.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. For a long time, the evidence was like a paradox. It just didn't add up.
Right.
Calculations based on the sun's energy suggested a relatively young sun and a young Earth. But geologists had evidence from rock formations showing the Earth had to be way, way older. It was a real head-scratcher.
So how in the world did they resolve this?
A huge breakthrough from a completely different field. Nuclear fusion. This wasn't even known at the time, but once scientists understood that the sun's energy came from nuclear fusion, it totally changed their calculations for the sun's age. And you know what?
What?
The new calculations showed a sun old enough to account for the Earth's long history.
Wow, so a discovery in physics solved a mystery in geology. Talk about connecting the dots.
Exactly. That's consilience at work. And this wasn't just a one-off. We see this same principle in so many other areas of science.
Right. Like evolution, which, as our sources point out, is a favorite target for those who deny the power of consilience.
It's true. A lot of people think evolution is only about fossils. But it's so much more than that. We have genetics, molecular biology, even biogeography, all telling the same story.
Hold on, break that down for me. Biogeography, the way species are spread out geographically, how does that support evolution?
Okay, well, if evolution is true, then the distribution of species should reflect their evolutionary history, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we see. When you look at the continents, you see these patterns of species distribution that perfectly match up with what we know about continental drift and the relationships between different groups of organisms.
So it's like having an ancient map and a modern map, and they line up perfectly.
Precisely. And that's what makes evolution such a strong theory.
Yeah.
It's not based on just one thing, but on mountains of evidence from so many different sources.
So the next time you hear someone doubting evolution, remember the power of consilience. It's not just about fossils, it's about all of this evidence coming together from so many different scientific disciplines.
Right.
And it's not just evolution. This idea of consilience, this idea of looking for converging evidence, is relevant to so many areas of knowledge. Like, take history, for
Oh,
example.
absolutely. History can be so tricky, right?
Right?
We're relying on incomplete accounts, interpretations can clash,
Sure.
but consilience helps us find solid ground, even with all that uncertainty.
It's like being a detective at a historical crime scene, trying to figure out what happened with only these clues.
Right.
You mentioned Julius Caesar earlier, and how his rise to power is a great example of consilience in history. What makes that so special?
Okay, well, we don't have video footage or transcripts from ancient Rome, right?
Right.
We have to rely on these accounts from historians who were actually there or lived shortly after those events.
Yeah.
And these historians all have their own opinions and maybe even biases.
They weren't exactly objective reporters.
Exactly. But here's the interesting part. Even with these different viewpoints, even with potential biases, if they all agree on the main points, that means something, right?
Okay.
So if multiple historians writing independently all agree that Caesar crossed the Rubicon, marched on Rome, and took power, that's a pretty strong indication that something like that actually happened.
That's a great point. Like, those witnesses at the crime scene, they might disagree about some details, but if they all agree on the main event, well, that adds a lot of weight to the story.
Exactly. And get this, we can look for more evidence from archaeology too.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe they dig something up and find structures built around that time that match the historian's descriptions. Or maybe they find artifacts, coins even, that bear Caesar's image and confirm he was in charge at that time.
So it's like those puzzle pieces all coming together. We're not just relying on a single source. We're weaving together a bunch of different threads from history, from archaeology, all pointing to the same conclusion.
Right. And that's what makes us feel more confident about what happened in the past. It's not about absolute certainty. It's about finding the most likely explanation, the one with the most evidence supporting it.
This makes a lot of sense, but it also makes me think about those who just pick and choose evidence to fit their own narrative. It seems like consilience is a good way to fight that kind of misinformation.
Oh, absolutely.
Our sources mention Holocaust denial as a really stark example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Holocaust deniers try to find these tiny inconsistencies or gaps in the historical record,
Okay.
while completely ignoring the mountains of evidence from survivors, from perpetrators, from documents, photographs, even physical traces of the genocide.
It's like saying the Earth is flat because you can't see the curve from your backyard. You're ignoring everything else.
Exactly. It's important to remember that we can't expect historical evidence to be perfect. Every event, even the ones that were well documented, will probably have some unanswered questions or discrepancies. Consilience isn't about needing perfect evidence. It's about recognizing how strong that converging evidence is, even if it comes from sources that aren't perfect on their own.
So it's about focusing on the weight of the evidence, the big picture, and not getting caught up in minor details that might not line up perfectly. And when you have something like the Holocaust, the sheer amount and variety of evidence makes it undeniable.
Exactly. Consilience helps us separate actual historical debate, where experts might disagree on the interpretation based on the evidence, and just plain denial, where they're ignoring or twisting the evidence on purpose.
It's a great point that being a critical thinker isn't about being cynical or dismissive, but about looking at things carefully. It's about weighing the evidence and looking for that consilience, that convergence, before you form a strong opinion.
So well said. And remember, this applies to everything, not just history and science, but anytime you're looking at information and making a decision.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't matter if you're reading an article, checking out a new diet trend, or trying to understand a complicated issue. Looking for that consilience, that convergence of evidence, can help you cut through all the noise and get closer to the truth.
You know, we've covered a lot, from the age of the Earth to critical thinking and misinformation, but it seems like consilience could be even bigger than this.
Yeah.
Our sources mention the arts, ethics, even big questions about meaning and beauty.
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it? If consilience helps us understand the universe, history, even our own biology, could it also help us understand things like creativity and morality? I mean, artists and scientists both want to understand the world. They just do it in different ways.
That's such a good point. It reminds me of that quote about Isaac Newton unweaving the rainbow by explaining the science behind it. But I feel like consilience shows us that understanding the science makes things even more beautiful, not less.
Totally. I mean, knowing that a bee's dance is essential for life on Earth, makes it even more amazing, don't you think?
It's like when you really connect with art or music, you start to get how it all works together, how all the pieces create something so much greater than you expected. Maybe that's consilience too, a convergence of emotions and ideas.
I love how you put that. Consilience isn't just about cold, hard facts.
Right.
It's about using evidence to understand and appreciate the world around us, even the things that seem magical and mysterious.
I love that. So we're going to leave you with this thought. If consilience can help us make sense of the universe, our past, and even help us find more reliable knowledge, what else could benefit from this approach? Could it help us come together, solve really tough problems, or even just find more meaning in our own lives?
Wow.
Something to think about.
It really is. It really makes you realize how connected everything is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like different fields can actually work together to help us find the truth. That's pretty cool when you think about it.
It really is. This whole deep dive has been amazing for realizing that consilience, it's not just some boring academic idea. It's something you and I can use every single day to understand this crazy world we live in,
Mm.
with so much information coming at us all the time.
It's about like trusting good evidence, trusting logic, even when it's not what we want to hear, right? And those are often like the most important things to figure out.
You're so right. We kind of touched on it earlier, but our sources, they suggest that consilience might go even further. They mention art, ethics, even these huge questions about beauty and meaning. What do you think about that?
It's pretty wild when you actually try to imagine it, Like
Hmm.
if consilience can help us understand like the universe, history, even our own bodies and how they work, is there a reason it couldn't shed light on these other parts of being human? The creative parts, the moral parts. I mean, artists and scientists, they both want to make sense of the world, right? They just like approach it differently.
You're really making me think, it's making me think of that famous quote. I can't remember who said it, but it's about Isaac Newton, like unweaving the rainbow
Oh, yeah, yeah.
by trying to explain the science behind the colors. But I think what consilience shows us is that understanding that science doesn't make beauty go away, it actually makes it even better.
100%. Knowing that a bee, like doing its little dance, is actually super important for life on Earth, that makes that dance even cooler.
It's like when a song or a painting really gets to you. You start to get how each little part, it all fits together, and the whole thing is even more amazing than you first thought. Maybe there's a kind of consilience happening there too, a convergence of like emotions and ideas and experiences that really hits us deep down.
Well, that's deep. Yeah, consilience, it's not just about memorizing facts.
Right.
It's about using that way of thinking, that evidence-based approach, to understand the world better, to appreciate it more, even the parts that seem totally random or magical.
I love that. And on that note, I think it's time to leave our listeners with something big to chew on. So here's a final thought. If consilience can help us understand the universe, our history, and even lead us towards more reliable information, what other areas of life would be better if we used it more? Could it help us all get along, solve big problems, or even just help each of us find more meaning in our own lives? Something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and keep searching for those moments of consilience wherever you can find them.